Hi, I'm Peter from Coffee Parts, and today we're looking at these two machines, the Rocket R58 and the Vittorio Arduino Prima 1. Design philosophy. Now, both these machines come from manufacturers that are really focused on design. With Rocket, their whole philosophy is about beautiful, timeless pieces. So they don't actually like having a lot of digital displays. They have worked with it and hidden digital displays like the chrono hidden into the front panel here, but mostly they want to keep all the controls hidden. In the case of this controller here, it's removable, and once you've removed it, you are a very traditional manual machine. With the Vittorio Arduino, they've looked at design from the intricacies of it, the little dials around here, all the finish, like this machine up close in real life really is finished. Once again, they're not really covered in digital displays. You've got the display on the group head, which works as showing your programming model and also your shot timer, but really they've kept all their controls to the app that you get with this machine. So you jump on your phone and you can control every bit of that machine through the app. So they've really looked at design. Little things like the feet of the machine. In real life, they really are both very well finished and manufactured machines. Where they start differing is two main things: how the machine is controlled, so with the Rocket using the controller and the Vittorio Arduino using the app, and the group head, with the Vittorio Arduino using the Neo technology to have it saturated and it heats instantly at the head. You've also got a little bit of control where they're built in the purge automatically. So you can have that group when you remove that portafilter purge, and there's a delay, so you can set the delay, for example, at 1 second with a 2-second purge. And by controlling that, you're not putting in too much water or too little, once again to conserve water and energy. And that's a really cool, unique feature of the Vittorio Arduino. The Rocket going for a more traditional approach, which is the E61 group head, 600mm boiler, PID controlled, which you've got the control here, very accurate temperature. They've built the offset into the PID, so the temperature you see here is the temperature coming out of the head, and a more traditional approach, and obviously non-saturated group head. So they do differ a little bit, and in this respect, the Vittorio Arduino does have a little bit more control and a bit more also from an environmental perspective, where you're only heating up the water that you need at that moment. In saying that, these are two different price points machines, so there's a bit of a gap in the price. And depending which market you're in, that gap might vary. But in Australia, we're looking roughly at a $5,000 machine versus a $7,000 machine. So you are looking at two slightly different machines. When it comes to steam, they're actually quite similar, yet the Rocket does have a bigger boiler at a 1.8 litre boiler versus a 1.5 from the Prima. Now, both of them are PID controlled, and in the Rocket's case, you can control your steam pressure just here on the controller, and in the Prima, you do it through the app. That steam is different in the way it's delivered. Both machines are running cool touch wands. In the case of the Rocket, you've got a traditional commercial steam valve running a turn knob. When on the Prima's case, they run the fly-by-wire system, which you can just press and either purge or hold down. So a little bit more convenient to use the Prima steam, but both very dry and very equivalent in terms of the steam performance. When it comes to water reservoirs, there is a big difference. The Rocket's running a 2.5 litre water reservoir, while the Prima's running a 1.2. The reason there is a difference and the thought process behind it is that both these machines can be either run via the tank or plumbed in. And at this price point, the assumption is a lot of people will be plumbing in these machines. So they've almost put in a water tank here to be able to run the machine out of the box, plug it in, put water and run it. But they believe that most of the customers will be plumbing it in. Rocket's gone for a 50-50 approach, where they thought half will plumb it in, half won't, and they made it quite easy. Now, when it comes to the hot water, Vittorio Arduino have done it differently. They've once again run it fly-by-wire, so basically solenoid operated, but they've bled in cold water, allowing you two different water temperatures. So just say really hot water to warm up your cup if your cup's not hot enough before you use it, and you can pour it out, and hot water that's a bit cooler at the right temperature to run your long blacks. So in that case, it is a lot more flexible. You can choose those two water temperatures and you can just run it fly-by-wire. With the Rocket, it's a more traditional approach where you've got the commercial hot water tap and it's picking up from the bottom of the rear boiler, which is effectively the steam boiler. With the feet on these machines, it's only minor, but one nice thing about the Prima is the feet are adjustable. So if your bench top wasn't perfectly level, you can adjust the machine to basically bring it out so your coffee does pour completely evenly. It is a nice thing. The Rocket are solid feet. Another little difference is on the Rocket, when the machine's on, you've got the green light here. I know it's only minor and almost irrelevant, but it is nice to visually just see you've got your machine on. When with the Prima, everything's muted. It's just a design piece and there's no distractions. But sometimes you can't really work out if you have it on or off without looking at things like the gauge. When it comes to gauges, the Rocket does have the traditional twin gauges. So one for the group head and one for your steam, when the Prima only has a steam gauge. But that's not here nor there, just different things. Personally, I do like seeing the gauges. It kind of reminds me of an old vintage car. And when it comes to drip trays, both these drip trays are removable and have the ability to be plumbed in. With the Rocket one, it's actually quite neat in when you pull it out, it's got magnets and it comes back in and just clips in neatly. Victoria Arduino does do something similar where once it's in, it's locked in really well. One difference being when you do take them out to clean, the Rocket one does sit by itself on a counter when the Victoria Arduino doesn't sit as well. The last big difference is, as mentioned earlier, the way the machines are controlled. The Rocket doesn't have Wi-Fi connection, so it doesn't have an app, where the Victoria Arduino does. So effectively on the Victoria Arduino, everything is controlled via the app, and that's anything from your brew temperature, it's a volumetric brew head, so how much water is coming through, whether it purges or not, and how long it purges. Your hot water tap, what the temperature is, your steam, like everything is controlled via the app, and your scheduling. We can turn it on and off up to 3 times a day, per day or week. With the Rocket, it's controlled through the controller here, which is removable. You can simply pull it out and unplug it. And in that controller, once again, you control your brew temperature and your steam temperature. You also control whether or not you have your steam boiler on. So you could run this as a black only machine. That option is not available yet on the Prima. And you can schedule the machines up to 2 times a day. So you can turn on in the morning and at lunch, for example, to run 2 different schedules per day, every day. Looking at it holistically, both machines are heavy in the design focus. Probably 2 of the machines in the industry that are more focused to not only build quality and design. The Rocket's gone for the timeless kind of feel, minimal displays, and really solid machine. When the Victoria Arduino is gone for those beautiful design elements, almost like they've looked at a Swiss watch. But in saying that, they're different approaches. The Rocket is a no-fuss, solid, beautiful design. The Victoria Arduino is really a machine that you can control all these little features. Obviously, it's not a pressure profiling machine. If you wanted that, you're looking at the Rocket R91 or a decent machine. But it is a beautiful machine that allows you just enough control to play and not too much that doesn't overwhelm you. Hope you've enjoyed this video looking at both the Rocket and the Victoria Arduino. Now, we have done in-depth reviews of both of these machines independently, and you can click up here for either one of these videos to have a deep dive. My question to you is, do you own one of these 2 machines? Are you looking at one of them? Or do you have any questions on them? If you do, leave us a comment below. And like always, if this video has brought you value, hit that thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Thank you again and see you on the next video.